That was quite the performance by grade 9, don't you think? Rishaan, do you remember what it was like preparing for our grade 8 play? The fun and the last minute changes we had to do?
Yes, I remember. But this year's grade 8 plays seems quite intriguing, don't you think?
Yes, I've been hearing about grade 8's play and how its suspense will take you to the edge of your seat. I can't wait to watch it, and I'm sure you all can't wait to watch it either. After 7 years of formal schooling, grade 8 is a graduation of sorts. It is the last step they take before entering high school. The play being presented to you today is entirely produced by the children themselves. From costume to script to promotion, sound and light, everything has been taken care of by the children, with minimal assistance by their teachers. We bring to you an adaptation of Agatha Christie's best-selling novel, and then there were none.
10 strangers arrived on a mysterious island, each one with something to hide.
When the threat of justice looms over them, the facade falls. As secrets emerge, soldiers fall one by one.
A homicidal lunatic seems to be there in their midst.
But who could it be? Let's find out. Let's give a grand applause for grade 8.
This story starts on a little island off the coast of Devon. If only you were there, you'd see the island for the tropical paradise it was. And on it was a mansion with all its splendor, yet surrounded in mystery.
Rumor had it that the island was bought by an old man for his beloved wife. On the island, the state-of-the-art mansion saw many lavish parties. However, nobody knows why it was sold. On this bright sunlit evening, we see 10 strangers coming together. Who knows what's in store for them?
First spot's here, second not too far behind.
Oh dear, already? Have you remembered everything, Fred?
That's everything.
That's right. So much to do. I don't even know where to start. All these guests arriving today, and the maid's not coming till tomorrow. Oh, come over, Detective. Everything's ship-shape now. Looks nice, don't it, Fred?
Looks neat enough for me. Kind of bare, but rich folks like places bare, it seems.
Rich folks are queer.
There's a queer sort of gentleman who built this place. Spent a wicked load of money on it and put the whole thing up for sale.
Beats me why the Owens wanted to buy it. Living on an island? Oh, come off it, Ethel.
They'll be here any minute now.
The missus shall want at least 5 loaves in the morning and 8 pence of milk. Remember.
Yes, I'll bring it first thing tomorrow.
So, this is it. How perfectly lovely.
Miss Clayton.
Your lodgers?
Yes, good evening, miss.
Good evening, Rogers. Will you bring up my luggage and cap from Bart's?
Yes, very good, miss.
You've been here before?
No, but I've heard a lot about the place.
From Mr. and Mrs. Old.
No, simply rumors. Most of them say a millionaire bought this island for a beautiful lady, but considering she's right in front of me, I don't think he succeeded.
Flattery. And here we are. Well, I ought to find Mrs. Owen.
It would be awfully rude to leave me here all by myself.
Would it? Oh, I wonder where she is. Where is Mrs. Owen?
Mr. and Mrs. Owen won't be down from London tomorrow, miss. I thought you knew.
Tomorrow?
But I've got a list of guests expected here, if you would like to have it. The second was just arriving.
Seems awfully silly to have brought only us in the first boatload and all the rest in the second, don't you think?
That, I'm afraid, was design, not accident.
Design? What do you mean?
I suggested to the boatman that there was no need to wait for any more passengers. That and 5 shillings got the engine started.
Oh, you shouldn't have done that.
Well, they're not a very interesting lot, are they?
I thought the young man was rather nice looking.
Callow. Definitely callow. Oh, speak of the devil.
Awesome place you've got here.
I'm Miss Claythorne. I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. She's been detained in London, I'm afraid, and won't be down until tomorrow.
Oh, too bad.
May I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr.
Marston. Anthony Marston.
Have a drink?
Sure.
What'll you have? Gin, whiskey, sherry, maybe some poison?
Whiskey, I think. What did you mention at the end?
Good day.
My name's Lombard. Have a drink, Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name.
Mr. Davis, Mr. Marston.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Marston. I don't mind if I do, Mr. Lombard. What a stiff climb up here. Reminds me of South Africa, this place.
Does it? What part?
Oh, Natal Durban, you know? Do you know South Africa?
Me? No.
That's where I come from. That's my native state.
Interesting country, I should think.
Finest country in the world, sir. Everything a man could want.
How do you do? General MacArthur, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. She's been detained in London, I'm afraid. May I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr. Marston, and Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name.
Whiskey and soda, sir?
Thanks. Are you in the service?
Formerly in the King's African Rifles. Too tame for me. I chucked it.
Oh, pity.
Where is Miss Ogden?
Miss Brent, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. She's been detained in London, I'm afraid,
And won't be down until tomorrow.
Indeed. Extraordinary. Did she miss the train?
I expect so. May I introduce Captain Lombard, Mr. Marston, and Mr.
Davis. Davis is the name. May I take your case?
No, thank you.
Will you have something to drink? Maybe a glass
I never
of
touch
wine?
alcohol.
You never touch alcohol.
I suppose you know, young man, that you left us standing there at the wall.
I'm afraid, Miss Brent, that was my fault. I wanted to...
It seemed most extraordinary to me that Mrs. Owen should not be here to receive her guests.
Perhaps it was her husband's fault?
She hasn't got a husband. I should like to go to my room.
You'll find Mrs. Rogers upstairs, miss. She'll show you to the room.
This way.
I'm afraid our hostess hasn't arrived, sir. My name's Lombard.
Mine's Walker, how do you do?
Will you have a drink?
Yes, a whiskey, please. Davis. Davis is the name. Wonderful place you've got here. Quite unique. As you say, quite unique. Your drink, sir.
Thank you. Badger Berkeley rolled up here?
Who did you say?
Badger Berkeley, a pal of mine. He rolled me in for this show. I was surprised when I didn't see him here.
Nobody of the name Berkeley.
That dirty old double cross has let me down. Well, a pretty awesome island, I'd say.
Why, let's give ourselves a tour then. Things are a bit 6s and 7s with the Owens not turning up.
Pretty awesome place for a holiday.
Rogers. Can I have a key, sir? No thanks. I'll unpack it for myself. Take my coat for me. You may have my keys, Rogers. Is Lady Constance Cummington expected?
Lady Constance Cummington? I don't think so, sir.
Oh,
Shall I show you the room?
yes. What time's dinner?
Dinner is at 8 o'clock, sir. Shall I show you the room?
Please.
Here you are, sir. I'll go and get Roger.
Thank you.
How are you? Davis. Davis is the name. Mine's Armstrong. Dr. Armstrong. Doctor. Have a drink? No thanks. I don't touch it. Do you mind if I do? Mine's empty. Not a bit. Well, I've been having a look around the island. Wonderfully restful. Wonderful for the nerves, you see. I'm a nerve specialist. Impressive. Did you come down by train? No, I motored down. That must have been a pleasant drive. Would have been, but some mannerless young fellow nearly drove me into the ditch near Amesbury. Shot past me at about 80 miles an hour. Disgraceful bit of driving. That must have really upset you. Yes, indeed. You must excuse me. I must have a word with Mr. Owen. Oh, but Dr. Armstrong, Mr. Owen isn't coming down from London until tomorrow. Rogers! Yes, sir. Take my glass, will you? Yes, sir. What time's dinner? Dinner is at 8 o'clock, sir. In a quarter of an hour. Been here long? No, just under a week, sir. Is that all? So I don't suppose you know much of the crowd that's here? No, sir. Oh, Rogers, could you show me to my room? Yes, sir. Good. I could do with a brush and wash up straight away.
There you are, Rogers. You ought to clear these dirty glasses. You're always leaving the dirty work to me. What do they think we are? Now then, the money's good. So it ought to be. Catch me going into service again, unless the money was good. I have a good mind to put my hat and coat on and walk out right now. You can't do that. Who says I can't? Why not? I'd like to know. Because you're on an island. Have you forgotten that? Yes. I actually did. Oh well, it's double wages on the account of difficulties. Dinner won't be a minute, miss. Just a question of dishing up.
Is everything all right, Rogers? Can you manage between the two of you?
Yes. The missus talks a lot, but she gets it done.
All right. What a lovely evening, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. The weather seems very settled. I should have thought you might feel a little uncomfortable in that dress.
Oh, no.
It's rather tight, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Well, you'll excuse me, but you've got your living to earn, and a well-bred woman does not like her secretary to appear flashy.
Aren't you being a little unkind?
Young people nowadays behave in the most disgusting fashion.
Disgusting.
Yes. Low-backed evening dresses, lying half-naked on beaches, on the so-called sunbathing. An excuse for immodest conduct. Nothing more. Familiarity. Christian names. Drinking cocktails. And look at the young men nowadays. Decadent. Look at that young Marston. What good is he? And that Captain Lombard.
What do you object to in Captain Lombard?
The man's an adventurer. All this youth is no good. No good at all.
You don't like youth, I see.
And is there any reason why I should? Pray tell.
Oh, no. Just seems to me that you might miss an awful lot. But
You're very impertinent.
I'm sorry, that's just what I think.
The world will never improve until we stamp out immodesty.
Quite pathological.
What did you say?
Nothing.
What about the judge?
I hadn't realized he was a judge.
Oh yes, he's probably been responsible for sending more people to their death than anyone in England. Hello you. Do you two know each other? Mr. Armstrong, Miss Claypole.
An absolutely awesome car. A supercharged Alpha Sports Romeo Spider. I can get over 150 out of her. Don't see many of them on the road, you know.
Did you come down from London?
Yes, 218 miles. Did a bit over 2 hours. Too many cars on the road. I reached around 90 at Salisbury Plains.
I think you passed me on the road. You nearly drove me into the ditch.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
If I'd seen your number, I'd have reported you.
Well, you were footling in the middle of the road.
Footling. I was footling.
Gentlemen, how about a drink? Tell me, what's old Miss Brent talking to the judge about? She tried to buttonhole him upstairs.
I don't know. Funny, she seems so certain that there wasn't a Mr. Owen.
Damn shame we don't know each other. I could have given you a lift down here.
Yes, that would have been grand.
Tell you what, we can go back together.
But I...
Yes, but she likes the way she's going back. And you have no right to ask me, how about a drink?
Oh, look, aren't they sweet? These
What?
10 little China soldiers. And the nursery rhyme. 10 little soldier boys went out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there were 9. 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, silence, please.
Where's that coming
You
from?
are charged with these indictments that you did respectively and at diverse times commit the following. Edward Armstrong, that you did cause the death of Louisa Mary Cleves. William Henry Blore, that you brought about the death of James Stephen Landor. Emily Caroline Brent, that you were responsible for the death of Beatrice Taylor. Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, that you killed Peter Ogilvy Hamilton. Philip Lombard, that you were guilty of the deaths of 21 men, members of an East African tribe. John Gordon MacArthur, that you sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Anthony James Marston, that you were guilty of the murder of John and Lucy Combs. Thomas and Ethel Rogers, that you brought about the death of Jennifer Brady. Lawrence John Wardway, that you were guilty of the murder of Edward Seton. Prisoners at the bar, have you anything to say in your defense?
What happened? Who was that?
Mrs. Rogers, I called.
Move. Give us space, gentlemen.
It's nothing much. She had fainted, that's all. Get some brandy.
Rogers, get some brandy, quick!
Who was that speaking? It just sounded...
What's going on here? What kind of practical joke was this?
Where the devil did that voice come from?
Indictment.
Turn it off! Turn it off! It's horrible!
A disgraceful and heartless practical joke?
Who the damn turned it on and set it going?
We must inquire into that.
Oh my god! What is happening?
Allow me, sir, if I speak to her. Yes, please. Ethel, it's all right. Take it yours. Pull yourself together.
Where's the brandy?
What was that voice? That awful voice? It was like a judgment. It was...
It's okay.
I'm all right now. It just gave me a turn.
It gave me a turn too. Wicked lies it was. I would like to know.
Who was it that set the gramophone going? Was it you, Rogers?
I was just obeying orders, sir. That's all.
Whose orders?
Mr. Owens.
Let me get this quite clear. Mr. Owen's orders were what exactly?
I was to put the record in the gramophone in the study. I was to find the records there. I was to start from that one, sir. I thought it was just to give you all some music.
A remarkable story, Rogers.
It's the truth, sir. Before heaven, it's the truth. I didn't know what it was. Not for a moment. It had a name on it.
Is there a title? Yes, sir. It's entitled Swan Song.
The whole thing's preposterous. Just preposterous. Slinging accusations about like this, something must be done about it. This fellow Owen, whoever he is.
Just it. Who is he?
That is what we must go into very carefully. I should suggest that you get your wife to bed, Rogers, and come back here immediately.
Yes, sir. I'll give you a hand.
I feel I need another drink.
I should like a glass of water, please.
Yes, I'll get it. I'd like a little whiskey too.
I'd like a beer, please. I've given her a sedative. She should be fine.
Now then, Rogers, we must get to the bottom of this. Tell us everything you know about Mr. Owen.
He owns this place, sir.
I am aware of that fact, Rogers. What I want you to tell me is what you know yourself about the man.
You see, I've never seen him.
What do you mean you've never seen him?
We've been here just under a week, sir, my wife and I. We've been engaged to a letter to the registry office.
Have you got the letter?
The letter engaging us? Yes, sir.
What next?
Nothing, sir. We arrived in London, the letter said, on the 4th. Everything was in order, plenty of food in stock, and everything just nice. Just needed dusting and that.
Go on with your story.
That is, we had orders to prepare rooms for a house party, 8. And yesterday, by the morning post, I received another letter saying that Mr. and Mrs. Owen would be detained. And if so, we would do the best we could. Gave the instructions about the gramophone record and dinner. Here is it, sir.
This is the letter of instruction.
Yes, sir.
Headed Ritz Hotel and typewritten.
Coronation machine number 5. Quite new, no defects. And signed paper. The most common make. We can check for fingerprints, but it's been handled too much.
Quite the little detective, are you?
Got some fancy Christian names, hasn't he? Like Norman Owen? A mouthful.
That is certainly something to think about, Mr. Marston. I think the time has come for all of us to pool our information together. We are all guests of our unknown host, and it would be profitable if each one of us were to explain exactly how that came about.
There's something very peculiar about all this. I received a letter with a signature that was not very easy to read. It purported to be from someone whom I had met at a certain summer resort 2 or 3 years ago. I took the name to be Ogden. I am quite certain I have never met or become friends with anyone by the name of Owen.
Have you got the letter, Miss Brent?
Yes, I will fetch it for you.
Miss Claythorne.
I wanted a post for the holidays and so I applied to a secretarial agency. Miss Grenfell's in London. I was offered this job and I accepted. I never actually met Mrs. Owen, come to think of it.
So you were never interviewed by your prospective employer?
No. I'll fetch the letter.
Oh, this is signed by Una Nancy Owen. Mr. Marston.
Don't actually know the Owens. Got a wire from Badger Berkeley. Haven't got the wire currently.
Thank you. And you, Dr. Armstrong?
I think in the circumstances, I may admit that my visit here was professional. Mr. Owen wrote to me about his wife's health. Her nerves, to be precise, and he wanted a report without her being alarmed. So he suggested that my visit should be regarded as that of an ordinary guest.
So you were never in previous acquaintance with the family?
No. A handsome fee was suggested, and I was due for a holiday anyway.
Is this the letter, Miss Brent?
Yes, yes.
Yes. The signature is slightly ambiguous.
What about you?
Me. Well, here's my own decoy letter, if you must. It was given to me by a friend of mine, Lady Constance Culmington. She writes in her usual vague, incoherent way, urges me to join her here.
refers to the host and hostess in the vaguest of terms.
Look here, I just thought of something.
In a minute.
But
We will take one thing at a time, if you don't mind, Captain Lombard. General MacArthur.
I got a letter from this fellow Owen. I thought I met him sometime at the club. Mentioned some old cronies of mine who were to be here. Hope that excused an informal invitation. I haven't kept the letter, I'm afraid.
Thank you. Just now, we have had a somewhat disturbing experience. An apparently disembodied voice spoke to all of us by name, uttering certain definite accusations. We will deal with those accusations in a moment. Presently, I'm interested in a minor point. Amongst the names received was that of William Henry Blore. The name of Davis was not mentioned. What have you to say about that, Mr. Davis?
Well, cat's out of the bag, it seems. I guess I'll admit, my name isn't Davis.
So you are William Henry Blore?
That's right.
I will add something to that. Not only are you here under a false name, Mr. Blore, but in addition to that, you're a first-class liar. You claim to come from Naples, South Africa. I know South Africa well, and I'm prepared to swear that you've never set foot there in your entire life.
You gentlemen have got me wrong. I'm an ex-CID man.
Oh, a cop.
I've got my credentials and I can prove it. I run a detective agency in Plymouth. I was put onto this job.
By whom?
By Mr. Owen. Sent her handsome money order for expenses. Also sent a list of all your names. Said I was to keep an eye on you.
Any reason given?
Said Mrs. Owen had some valuable jewels. Mrs. Owen, my foot! I don't believe there's such a person.
Your conclusions are, I think, justified. Eunuch Norman Owen, Una Nancy Owen, all as to say U.N. Owen, or by slight stretch of fancy, unknown.
But it's fantastic. It's mad.
Oh yes, I have no doubt in my own mind that we have been invited here by a maniac, possible homicidal lunatic.
Oh my God.
Whoever it is who has enticed us here has taken a great deal to find out about us and has made some certain, definite accusations.
It's all very well to make accusations.
Pack of damn lies! Slander!
It's inquisitive.
A wicked lie. We never did.
Don't know what the damn fool was getting at.
I wish to say this before you all, that my conscience is perfectly clear on the matter. Yes, our unknown host accuses me of the murder of Edward Seton. I remember Seton perfectly well. He came up to me before the trial, June 1930. Yes. He was accused of the murder of an elderly woman. Based off of the evidence that I saw, he was certainly guilty. In passing the sentence of death, I fully concurred with his verdict. The man was duly executed.
Did you know Seton at all? I mean, personally?
No, I knew nothing of Seton previous to the trial.
The old boy's lying. I swear he's lying.
Fellow's a madman. Absolute madman. Best really to leave this sort of thing unanswered. However, I feel I ought to say, no truth in whatever he said about Arthur Richmond. Richmond was one of my officers. I sent him on reconnaissance in 1917. He was killed. Also like to say, resent very much. Slur on my wife. Been dead a long time. Best woman in the world.
I've just been thinking, John and Lucy Combs. Must be some kids I ran over at Cambridge.
You did what? What?
Beastly bad luck.
Beastly bad luck. For them or for you?
I was thinking for me. But of course, for them. They ran out of some cottage. I got my license suspended for a year. Beastly nuisance.
Speeding's all wrong. All wrong. Young men like you are a danger to the community.
It was just an accident. I couldn't help it.
Wow.
An accident.
Right.
Likely story.
Might I say a word, sir?
Go ahead, Rogers.
There was a mention, sir, of me and Mrs. Rogers and of Miss Jennifer Brady. There isn't a word of truth in it. We were with Miss Brady when she died. She was always in poor health, sir. Always from the time when we came to her. There was a storm, sir, the night she died. The telephone was out of order. The doctor arrived too late. We did everything possible for her, devoted to her. There was never a word said against us. Never a word. Came into a nice little something at her death, I suppose, didn't you? Miss Brady left us a legacy in recognition of our faithful service. And why not, I would like to know.
What about yourself, Mr. Bloor?
What about me?
Your name was on the list.
I know. Landau, you mean? There was a London and Commercial Bank robbery.
Ah, I remember the case. Landau got penal servitude for life and died in Dartmoor. Yes, he was a delicate man.
He was a crook. It was him who put the night watchman out. The case was clear from the start.
You were complimented on your able handling of the case.
I got my promotion. I was only doing my duty.
Convenient word, duty. What about you, Doctor?
The thing's a complete mystery to me. Could have been one of my outpatient cases at hospital. These people come too late. So many of them. And when the patient dies, it's always the surgeon's fault.
And then it's better to give up surgery and take in nerve cases. Some, of course, give up drink.
I protest. You have no right to insinuate such things. I never touch alcohol.
I never suggested you did. Anyways, Mr. Unknown Owen is the only one who knows all the facts, I suppose.
What about yourself, Miss Clayton?
I was governess to Peter Hamilton. We were at the beach for the summer and he was forbidden to swim out far. One day when my attention was distracted, he started off. As soon as I saw what had happened, I swam after him, but I couldn't get there in time.
Was there an inquest?
Yes, I was exonerated by the coroner and his mother didn't blame me either.
And you, Miss Brent?
I have nothing to say.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You reserve your defense.
There is no question of defense. I have always acted according to my own conscience.
What a law-abiding lot we seem to be. Myself excepted, of course.
Oh, but we are waiting for your story, Captain Lombard.
I don't know about all of you. It's just that I plead guilty. I left those natives alone in the bush. Matter of self-preservation.
You abandoned your men?
It's not quite the act of a proper gentleman, I'm afraid. But natives don't mind dying, They don't feel about it as Europeans do.
Inquiry rests there. Now, whoever it is, we need to get to the bottom of this. Rogers, who else is on the island besides yourself, your wife, and ourselves?
Nobody, sir. Nobody at all.
You're sure of that?
Quite sure, sir.
Oh, don't go, Rogers. I'm not yet clear as to the fact of why our unknown host has gotten us to assemble here. He may be dangerous. In my opinion, it would be best for us to leave here, preferably by tonight.
I beg your pardon, sir, but there's no boat on this island.
What? There's no boat on the island.
No, sir.
Why don't you telephone the mainland?
There's no telephone, sir. Ted Narracott. He comes out every morning. He takes the milk and the bread and the post and takes out the orders.
A bit unsporting, what? We ought to ferret out this mystery. It's like a detective story. Positively thrilling.
At my time of life, young man, I have no desire for thrills.
The legal life's narrowing. I'm all for crime. And here's to it.
Come off it.
Get some water, Rogers!
My God. He's dead! What? asphyxiation, right enough. He's dead.
Never knew a man could die like that. Just of a choking fit.
In the middle of life, we are in death.
Was there something in the whiskey, Doctor?
Yes. By the smell of it, cyanide. Potassium cyanide acts pretty well instantaneously.
Then he must have put the stuff in the glass himself.
Well, suicide, it's a bit odd. You'd never think he'd commit suicide. He was so alive. He was enjoying himself.
Here's one of the China soldiers. Broken.
And so an eventful evening it was. Accusations thrown around, 10 supposedly guilty people, with each their own secret to keep. A certain alarm rings through everyone's head. Some choose to express their discomfort, while others to laugh it off. The atmosphere was filled with apprehension, and the tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife.
What more did they have in store for them? In a blink of an eye, Marston dead, poisoned. You could call it suicide, but who'd expect that of Marston? Seems unlikely. That leaves one box to check. A question lies at the tip of everyone's tongue. Was Marston killed? 9 out of 10 strangers remain till dawn, it seems. As morning arrive, our guests awake for Fred Norcott's arrival, their only ticket off this island.
We've been up to the top. No sign of the boat yet.
It's still very early.
Still, the fellow brings the milk and bread and all. I should have thought he'd been here by now. No sign of any breakfast. Where's that fellow Rogers?
Oh, let's not even bother about breakfast.
How's the weather looking?
The wind has freshened up a bit. Rather mackerel sky. Could be prelude to bad weather.
I wish that boat would come. It's absurd not keeping a boat on the island. The sooner we get off this island, the better.
There's no proper harbor to keep a boat, Doctor. If the wind comes to blow from the southwest, a boat would get dashed into pieces against these rocks.
But a boat would always be able to take us to the mainland?
No, Miss Brent. That's just what it wouldn't.
Does that mean we are cut off?
Yes, but you needn't worry. The sea's only a bit choppy.
I think the pleasures of living on an island are rather overrated.
I wonder if that boat's coming. Annoying the way the house is built right up against the cliff. You can't see the mainland until you've climbed the top. Shall we go up there again?
It's no good, Doctor. A watch pot never boils.
I wonder where Narcot is and where's Rogers? They ought to be about.
If you ask me, Master Rogers was pretty badly rattled last night. I'd even take a bet that he and his wife did do that old lady in.
You really think so?
Well, I've never seen a man more scared in my life. Guilty as hell, I should think.
Fantastic, the whole thing. Fantastic.
I say, suppose he's made a run for it?
Oh no. For one thing, you established that there's no boat on this island. Secondly, he wouldn't be allowed to leave this island.
Sleep well, General?
I dreamed. Yes, I dreamed. I dreamed of Leslie, my wife, you know.
Yes, I wish Narukot would come.
Who was Narcot?
The bloke who brought us over yesterday afternoon.
Was it only yesterday?
Yes, I feel like that too. Batty gramophone records, suicides. It's about all a man can handle. I shan't be sorry to see the back of Soldier Island, I give you my word.
So you don't understand? How strange.
What's that, General?
I don't like the look of him.
I reckon young Marston's suicide must have been a pretty bad shock for him. He looks years older.
Dr. Armstrong, I suppose it was suicide?
What else could it be?
I don't know, but suicide.
You know, I had a pretty funny feeling in the land. What if this unknown Owen is actually on the island? Rogers may not know, or he may have been told to say so. Pretty nasty thought, isn't it?
But would it have been possible for anyone to tamper with Marston's drink without our seeing him?
Well, it was just lying over there. Anybody could have dropped a dollop of cyanide in it if they'd wanted to.
No, but Dad...
Oh, there you are, sir. I have been looking all over the place for you. Could you come up and look at my wife, sir?
Yes, of course. Is she feeling under the weather still?
She's...
Y'all won't leave the island without me.
I wish that boat would go. I really hate this place.
Yes. The sooner we can get in touch with the police, the better.
The police?
You do know, Miss Clayton, that the police need to be notified in case of a suicide.
Yes, of course.
What's going on here? Still no sign of any breakfast.
Are you hungry, General? Feeling like breakfast?
Leslie, my dear.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm Vera Clayton.
Of course, forgive me. I took you for my wife.
But I thought your wife was dead long ago.
Yes, I thought so. But she's here, on this island.
Good morning.
Good morning, Captain Lombard.
Good morning. I seem to have overslept myself. Boat here yet?
No. You must have good nerves to sleep like that.
Nothing makes me lose my sleep.
Didn't dream of African natives by any chance, did you?
No. Did you dream of convicts on Dartmoor? What about breakfast?
The whole domestic staff seems to have gone on strike.
Well, we can always forage for ourselves.
Hello. That's strange.
What is?
You remember we found one of these little fellows smashed last night?
Yes, that ought to leave 9.
That ought to leave 9. I'm certain there were 10 of them here when we arrived. Well, there are only 8.
So there are.
I think it's queer, don't you?
There were probably only 9 to begin with. We only assumed there were 10 because of the rhyme. Oh, hello, Armstrong. What's the matter?
Mrs. Rogers is dead.
What? What? Dead?
How? She died in her sleep. Rogers thought she was still under the influence of the sleeping draught I gave her, and he came down without disturbing her. When she hadn't come in a while, he went to check upstairs, was alarmed by the look of her, and came searching for me. She's been dead about 5 hours, I should say.
What was it? Heart? After all, she had a pretty bad shock in the night.
Impossible to say.
Could it have been poison?
It is perfectly possible.
With cyanide, the same stuff as young Marston?
No, not cyanide. Some narcotic or maybe hypnotic.
You did give her some sleeping powders last night. Didn't give her too much by any chance, did you?
Certainly not. The amount I gave her can't hurt anyone.
Alright, no offense, no offense. I just thought that maybe if she had a weak heart.
Then what exactly did happen?
Impossible to say without an autopsy. Without previous knowledge of the woman's state of health, I could certainly not give a certificate.
She was a nervous-looking creature. She had a bad fright last night. Perhaps it was the heart.
Her heart certainly failed to beat. But I wonder what caused it to fail.
Conscience?
What exactly do you mean by that, Miss Brent?
Well, you all heard. She was accused, along with her husband, of having murdered her employer, an old lady.
And you believe that's true?
Certainly. You all saw her last night. She broke down completely and fainted.
thought of having her wickedness brought home to her was too much. She literally died of fear. Call it, if you will, an act of God.
No, Miss Brent, it can't be true.
You regard it as impossible that a sinner should be struck down by the wrath of God? I do not.
My dear lady, in all my experience of ill-doing, Providence leaves the work of chastisement and conviction to us mortals. It is often fraught with difficulties. But, however, there are no shortcuts.
Let's be practical. What did the woman have to eat or drink last night after she went to bed?
Nothing.
Nothing at all? Not a cup of tea or a glass of water?
Rogers assures me she had nothing whatever.
He might say so.
You think he did it?
Well, I've never seen a man more scared in his life. I feel they've done a murder and gotten away with it. And now, they're feeling all safe and happy about it.
Happy? Really?
Well, they know there's no immediate danger to them. Then what happens? Last night, some lunatic goes and spills the beans. It's the woman who cracks. Did you see Rogers hanging around her when she was coming to? They've done a murder and gotten away with it. And if it's all going to be raked up again, it's the woman who will give the show away. Meanwhile, Rogers will go on lying. So, what does he do? He drops a nice dollop of something into a nice cup of tea. And when she's had it, he tells the doctor she's had nothing.
Oh no, a man wouldn't do that, not to his own wife.
You would be surprised, Miss Clayton, of what some husbands are capable of.
Excuse me, miss. I'm getting on with breakfast. Not much of a hand to cook, I'm afraid. It's lunch that's worrying me. Could a cold tuna and potatoes be satisfactory? And then rest in cheese and biscuits.
Yes, that'll be fine, Rogers.
Lunch! Lunch! We shan't be here for lunch! And when the hell's that boat
Mr.
coming?
Lord!
What?
I beg your pardon, sir, but the boat won't be coming.
What?
Fred Narraport is always here before 8. Is there anything else you require, miss?
No, thank you, Rogers.
And it's not Rogers. His wife laying dead upstairs and he's calmly talking about breakfast and lunch. Now he says the boat won't be coming. How the hell does he know that?
Mr. Bloor!
What?
You shall not use profanity in my presence.
Oh, don't you see? He's just dazed. He's carrying on automatically as any good servant would. It's pathetic, really.
He's pulling a fast one if you ask me.
The really incredible thing is the failure of the boat to arrive. That means we are being deliberately cut off from help.
None of us will ever leave this island.
Can't someone shut up, Grandpa?
Why do you think Narcot hasn't come?
Perhaps the cunning Mr. Owen has given orders.
You mean told him it's a practical joke or something of that kind?
He won't fall for that, would he?
Well, he knows we have enough supplies. Probably thinks it's all a big joke.
Can't we light a bonfire or something? Maybe they'd see it.
Oh, I suppose that's been provided against as well. All signals are to be ignored.
But can't we do something? Anything.
Oh yes, we can do something. We can find the funny gentleman who staged this little joke, Mr. Unknown Owen. For in my opinion, he's as mad as a hatter and as dangerous as a rattlesnake.
Hardly a good example, Captain Lombard. The rattlesnake at least gives warning of its approach.
Warning? My God, yes, that is our warning. 10 little soldier boys. There were 10 of us after Narracot left, weren't there? 10 little soldier boys went out to dine. One choked himself. Marston choked himself, didn't he? And then 9 little soldier boys sat up very late. One overslept himself. The last part fits Mrs. Rogers rather well.
You don't think? Does that mean he wants to kill us all?
Yes, I think it does.
And each one fits this rhyme.
No, it's impossible. It's coincidence. It must be coincidence.
Only 8 little soldier boys here, Doctor. Is that a coincidence too?
But there's no one on the island. I wouldn't be so sure of that. This is terrible.
Don't you agree with me, Sir Lawrence?
Up to a point, yes.
Then the sooner we get to work, the better. Come on, Armstrong, come on, Roy. We'll make a short work of it.
I'm ready. I suppose nobody's got a revolver. That's too much to ask for.
I've got one.
Always carry that about with you?
Usually. I've been in some tight spots, you know.
Well, if there's a homicidal lunatic on this island, he's probably got a whole arsenal in it. And he'll use it.
You may be wrong there, Mr. Bloor. Many homicidal maniacs are very quiet, unassuming people.
Delightful fellows.
Now then, let's make a start. I suggest Captain Lombard searches the house while me and Armstrong search the island.
Right. House ought to be easy. No sliding panels or secret doors.
Mind, he doesn't get you before you get him.
You don't worry about that. You all two had better stick together. Remember, one got left behind.
Come on, Armstrong.
Quite the energetic young man, that Captain Lombard.
Don't you think he's right? Is anyone on the island, they'll be bound to find him. It's practically bare rock.
I think this mission needs brains rather than brawn.
Where are you going?
To sit in the sun, my dear lady, and think.
Where did I put that skein of wool?
Shall I go upstairs and look for it for you?
No, I'll go. I know where it's likely to be.
I'm glad Captain Lombard has got that revolver.
You're all wasting time. Wasting time.
You think so?
Yes. It's much better to sit quietly and wait.
Wait for what?
For the end, of course. I wish you'd known Leslie. She was so pretty, so full of life.
Was she?
The truth, I loved her very much. Of course, I was a lot older than she was. She was only 27, you see. Arthur Richmond was 26. He was my ADC. Leslie liked him. They both used to talk about music and plays. I was pleased. I thought she took a motherly interest in the boy. Damn fool, wasn't I? When I was out in France, she wrote to both of us. She put the letters in the wrong envelope, so I knew.
Oh no.
It's all right, my dear. It was a long time ago. But you see, I never told him. I let it gather inside here. A slow, murderous rage. What a hypocrite. I'd liked the boy. Trusted him.
I wonder what the others are doing.
I sent him to his death. Yes, it was quite easy. Mistakes were being made all the time. All anyone could say that I'd make a blunder, sacrifice one of my best men. Yes, it was quite easy. Leslie never knew. I never let her found out. To the end was coming.
Chandran?
Yes, I suppose, in a way, it was a murder. But you see, that I've always been such a law-abiding man. It didn't feel like at that time. Serves him right. That's what I thought. But afterwards, well, you know, don't you?
What do you mean?
You don't understand. I thought you would. I thought you'd be glad. The end was coming.
I don't know.
You're very young. You haven't got that yet. The relief, the blessed relief. When you know that you've done with it all, that you haven't got to carry any burden longer.
Chandran,
you don't understand. I want to wait. I want to sit, and I'm going to wait. Wait for Leslie to come for me.
I'm scared. Oh, this is too much.
All correct. No secret passages. 2 corpses.
Oh, don't.
I say, you do look low. How about a drink to steady your nerves?
A drink? 2 corpses in the house at 9 o'clock and all you can say is have a drink. An old man going quiet crackers. Have a drink. 10 people accused of murder. That's all right. Just have a drink. Have a drink is your solution to everything, isn't it?
All right, all right. Stay thirsty.
Oh, you're nothing but an adventurer. Make me tired.
I say, you are all hot and bothered. What's the matter, my sweet?
I am not your sweet.
I rather thought you were.
Well, you can think again.
Come now. You know you don't feel like that. You and I, we've got something in common. Rogues and murderers can't fall out.
Rogues and murderers.
Fine. You don't like the company of rogues and murderers, and you won't have a drink. I'll go finish searching.
Unpleasant young man. I can't find it anywhere. I say, what's the matter?
I'm really worried about the general. He looks ill, I think.
Looking out for the board, General? His cells I found him out.
Oh, don't.
Well, one must face facts.
Can any of us afford to judge the other right now?
Even if his wife was no better than she should be, and she must have been a depraved woman, he had no right to take judgment into his own hands.
Well, what about Beatrice Taylor?
Are you referring to that absurd accusation regarding myself?
Yes.
Well, I have no objections in telling you the facts of the case. Indeed, I should like you to hear them. It just didn't seem to be a fit subject to discuss in front of gentlemen. That girl, Beatrice Taylor, was in my service. She seemed to have nice manners and was clean and willing. Of course, all of that was the sheerest hypocrisy. She was a loose girl with no morals. Disgusting. And when I found out that she was what they call in trouble, I was shocked. Her parents were decent folks too, who had raised her up strictly. I am glad to say that they did not condone this behavior.
What happened?
Well, naturally, I refused to let her stay a second under my roof. I have no patience with this indulgence towards sin.
She drowned herself?
Yes.
How old was she?
17.
Only 17.
Quite old enough to know how to behave. I told her what a low, depraved thing she was. I told her that no decent person would ever let her set foot into their house. I told her that her child would be the child of sin and would be branded all its life, and that the man would naturally not dream of marrying her. I told her that I felt
You
soiled.
told a girl of 17 all that?
Yes. I am glad to say that I broke her down utterly.
What did you feel like when you found out?
Feel like?
Didn't you feel guilty? Did you blame yourself?
Absolutely not. I had nothing with which to reproach myself.
I believe you really feel like that. And that makes it even more horrible.
That girl's unbalanced. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hand.
Breakfast is ready.
Be quiet. The wicked shall be turned into hell. Shall not the isles shake at the sound of the fall? When the wounded cry, where are the gentlemen, miss? The breakfast slaughter is made.
Sir Lawrence Walkley is sitting out in the sun. Mr. Blow and Dr. Armstrong are searching the island. I shan't worry about them. Shall we go in?
I don't feel like eating. Breakfast is ready. And then the princes took off their broidered robes, stepped down from their thrones.
What luck did you have?
There's no cover on the island. No caves. No one can hide anywhere.
That's right. What about the house, Mr. Lombard?
Amen.
There's no one in this house except us. I'll swear my life on it.
Breakfast is getting cold.
Oh, breakfast. Come on, Laura, you've been yelping for breakfast ever since you got up. Let's eat and drink and be merry. For tomorrow we die. Oh, who knows? Maybe even today.
You ought to be ashamed of such levity, Captain Lombard.
Come on, General. Can't have this. Breakfast, I say, sir. Good God. There's a knife in the carpenter's back.
What? Is he? He's dead. How could it have been? There's no one on the island and we were right here.
Don't you see? This cunning and clever criminal is always comfortably one stage ahead of us, that he knows exactly what we are going to do and makes his plans accordingly. There's only one place, you know, where a successful murderer could hide and have decent chance of getting away with it. One place. Where? Here, in this room.
Oh no. Oh, Mr. Owen.
Mr. Owen is one of us?
And so it has begun. One by one, China soldiers disappear from the mantelpiece, and each one of our guilty little soldier boys gets theirs. One by one, their dirty little secrets are revealed. Some as confessions, others in defense. What more can the rest do but await their turn? MacArthur's death has made it apparent that these deaths aren't just coincidence. They are, in fact, murders. Devious, bone-chilling murders.
To make matters worse, the more these 7 strangers get to know each other, the less they trust the other. And perhaps as a precaution, keep a close eye on each other, with nothing but their own lives to safeguard. And of course, how could you forget the nursery rhyme? Each murder takes in place in an uncanny accordance with the nursery rhyme.
Sir Lawrence, well, Mr. Bloor, I wanted to get you alone. You were right in what you said this morning. This damned murderer is one of us, and I think I know which one.
Oh, really?
Ever hear of the Lizzie Borden case? In America, old couple killed with an axe in the middle of the morning. Only person who could have done it was their daughter, a respectable middle-aged spinster. So incredible that they acquitted her, but they never found any other explanation.
So your answer to the problem is Miss Emily Brent?
Yes, that's right. I tell you, that woman is mad. Mad as a hatter. Religious mad. And she's the only one not scared. Why? Because she knows she's in no real danger. She comes.
We've made some coffee. Ugh, it's cold in here, isn't it? Miss Brent,
Allow me. Miss Brent.
you were right to insist on having some brandy with lunch. I feel much better now.
Yes, the court always adjourns for lunch.
All the same, it's a nightmare. You can't believe it's true. What are we going to do about it?
You haven't got a hunch of any kind, do you, Miss Clayton?
If Miss Clayton suspects one of us 3, that is a rather awkward question.
I'm sure it isn't any one of you. If you ask me who I suspect, I'd say Dr. Armstrong.
Armstrong?
Yes, he's had far and away the best chance to administer a drug to Mrs. Rogers. Being a doctor, he could have easily given her an overdose of the sleeping stuff.
Yes, but someone else gave her the brandy, remember?
Her husband had the good opportunity to administer a drug.
Yes, but it's not Rogers. He wouldn't have the brains to fix all the stuff, nor the money. Besides, you can see that he's scared stiff.
did you think it was? Beatrice Taylor.
Is that coffee? Good. I've taken to coffee now, you see.
So you have.
I don't profess to be a weather prophet, but it seems unlikely that a boat could reach us, even if it knew our plight under 24 hours. And even if the wind does go down, the sea still needs to settle.
It's really cold in here. I should light a fire if you like, miss.
Yes, that would be nice, Rogers.
Very sound scheme, Rogers.
Excuse me, has anybody heard of the top bathroom curtain?
Really, Rogers, are you going back too?
The bathroom curtain? Yes, sir. Scarlet oil silk. It's missing.
Well, has anyone seen it?
Bathroom curtain.
No good, I'm afraid, Rogers.
I just thought it was odd.
Why, everything on this island is odd.
I got a few sticks and get a good fire going.
I wonder if he'd like some coffee. He seems to need it. Rogers!
Where's Armstrong?
He went up to his room to rest.
Somebody's probably batted him out by now.
I suppose he had the good sense to bolt his door.
It won't be so easy now that we're all on our guard.
I advise you, Mr. Bloor, not to be too confident. In fact, I should like to shortly purpose some measures of safety, which I think we should all adopt.
Against whom?
Against each other, of course. We are all in grave danger. Of the 10 people that have arrived on this island, 3 are already gone. There are only 7 of us left. 7 little soldier boys.
One of whom is a bogus little soldier boy.
Exactly.
Well, I'd like to say that in spite of what Miss Clayton said just right now, I'd say that you, Sir Lawrence, and Dr. Armstrong are above suspicion. He's a well-known doctor and journaled all over England.
That proves nothing at all, Mr. Bloor. Judges have gone mad before now. So have doctors. So have policemen.
Here. Well, does he want some coffee?
No, he'd rather make himself a nice cup of tea. What about Dr. Armstrong? We ought to take him up a cup.
I will take it up if you like.
No, I'll take it. I want to change.
Yes, you ought to.
Actually, I think Dr. Armstrong might prefer to see me. You know, he may not admit it to you, Captain Lombard, but he may be afraid of your revolver.
Yes, the revolver. I would like to have a word with you about that.
Oh, do go and change.
What about the revolver?
Well, I would like to know why you've brought your revolver down here on what's supposed to be a little social visit.
You do you? You see, I've been in a few tight spots before. In, like, a bit of a jam once or twice. And I've gotten used to carrying a revolver back with me. It's a pleasant feeling to have one handy. Don't you agree?
We don't carry them. Now, I want to shoot about this gun, Captain Lombard.
What a damn suspicious fellow you are, boy.
I know a fishy story when I hear one.
Well, if it's about the revolver, I'd like to know what you've got to say.
Fine. I got a letter from Mr. and Mrs. Owen asking me to come here, to Soldier Island. They said it would be worth my while. The writer said I'd got a good reputation for being a good man in a tight spot. There might be some danger, but I'd be all right if I kept my eyes open.
To wait for my liking.
That was the whole charm. It aroused my curiosity.
Curiosity killed the cat.
Yes.
Do go and change.
I'm going, my sweet, I'm going.
Ridiculous.
That's a tall story. If it's true, why didn't he tell it to us before?
He might have thought this was exactly the emergency for which he had been prepared.
Perhaps it is.
I hardly think so. Mr. Owen must have known him well enough to rely on his curiosity.
I wouldn't trust him a yard.
And are you such a good judge of truth?
I'm sorry. I've been overworked lately and run down.
Sleeping badly?
Yes. I keep dreaming. Hospital, operations, a knife at my throat.
Real nightmares.
Yes. Do you ever dream that you're in court, sentencing a man to death?
Are you by any chance referring to the death of Edward Seton?
Yes.
I can assure you that I don't lose any sleep over the death of Seton, a particularly cold-blooded murderer. The jury liked him and were inclined to let him off. I, however, Dr. Armstrong, made sure justice was served.
Cold in here, isn't it? Where's Rogers?
I wonder what's taking so long. He said he'd got to get some sticks.
Sticks. My God, sticks is another one for another. Only 6.
7 little soldier boys. Chopping up
There are only
sticks.
5.
Rogers and Lombard.
Oh no, not Philip. Rogers. Rogers.
Where the hell is Blower off to like a madman?
Philip.
Thank God. What's the matter?
Have you seen
2 more
Rogers?
soldiers are gone.
No, I haven't seen Rogers. And two more soldiers?
There are only 5 left.
I thought it was you.
I'm all right.
What's the matter, Blore?
In the scullery. Is he? Oh yes, he's dead all right.
How?
With an axe. Somebody must have crept up behind him while he was bent over the wood box.
One chopped himself in half and then there were 6.
Stop it, Vera. Get a
Wow.
hold of yourself. God. What's next, boys? Bees? Are there bees on the island?
What?
Well, that's the next verse, isn't it? 6 little soldier boys playing with a hive. A bumblebee stung one. We all look pretty spry. My God.
She?
You don't think? A hypodermic syringe.
The modern bee sting.
While she was sitting there. One of us?
One of us.
Which of us?
Who could have done it?
boys sitting in a row, watching each other and waiting for the blow.
I hardly think this is a moment for humor.
Well, I have to relieve the gloom. Let's play a game, shall we? It's called Suspicions. A suspects B and so on. Let's start with Lord. You suspect me, don't you?
I wouldn't say no to that.
You're wrong, you know. If I had to commit a murder, there'd have to be something in it for me.
All I can say is that you've acted suspiciously from the start. First you come here with a revolver, now you say you've lost it.
I have lost it.
That's a likely story.
Well, what do you think I've done with it? I suggested myself that you search me.
Oh, you don't have it with you? You're too clever for that. But you've hidden it. And when you plan on using it next, you're gonna remove it.
Why don't you use your brains, Blower? If I wanted to, I could have shot the lot of you by this time. Pop, 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 pop.
Well, that's not the big idea, is it?
The crazy touch, my God, I'm sane enough.
The doctor says there are some lunatics you'd never know were lunatics. I agree.
We shouldn't just sit here doing nothing. There must be something we can do. If we light a bonfire in this weather,
It is, a question of time and patience. Once the weather clears out, we will be able to do something. Heliograph, light a signal, something.
a question of time. Time? We can't afford time. We shall all be dead.
We have adopted the only measures possible. We just need to sit here and wait.
I tell you, we shall all be dead. All but one. He'll think of something else. He's thinking right now.
What was her name? Cleese Louise? What is it, nerves that made you do her in, Doctor?
No. Drink. I used to be a heavy drinker. Was drunk when I operated. My hands shaking all over the place. I killed her.
So I was right. That's how it was?
Sister knew, of course, but she was loyal to me. Or to the hospital. I gave up drink altogether and went in for a study of nervous diseases.
Very successfully.
1 or 2 lucky shots, good results with a few important patients. They helped me get to the top of the tree.
Until Mr. Unknown Owen and Damnable come Cradle, Dr. Nor.
Will you stop your damnable sneering and joking?
Gentlemen, please, we can't afford to quarrel.
That's okay by me. I apologize.
It's this terrible inactivity that gets on my nerves.
How about some food?
I can go out and open some tuna and make some coffee if you like. But you four stay here. That's right, isn't it?
Actually, no, Miss Clayton. See, it would be inadvisable to eat or drink anything that you have prepared out of our sight.
Oh. You don't like me, do you?
It is not a question of likes and dislikes. It's precautions.
Right.
There are a very few tricks that will get past you, Sir Lawrence. If you don't mind me saying so, I suspect you.
It is hardly the moment, Captain Lombard, for any of us to indulge in the luxury of taking offense.
Well, I don't think it's Blore. I don't think he's got enough imagination for this job. All I can say is that you're an actor, if you're the criminal. You're a damn fine actor.
Thank you for nothing.
I don't think it's the doctor either. I don't believe he's got enough nerve for this job. On the other hand, Vera, you've got plenty of nerve. But you strike me as eminently sane. Therefore, you'd only do murder if you had a thoroughly good motive.
Thank you.
Wait, I've just thought of something. That man says he's a police officer. But he only sets off to the gramophone record when his name had been given. What if the police officer is another impersonation? What do we know about him? Nothing at all?
Oh, he's a policeman, all right. Look at his clothes. No sense of style.
That's enough, Mr. Lombard.
What about the food I hear?
We are taking the only measures possible right now. So long as we stay in this room, another murder cannot be committed. We have all submitted to a search. Therefore, we know that no man is armed or has any drug about his person.
Can't say I'm hungry.
You hungry, Blair?
Yes.
Well, then you can go off and have a guzzle by yourself.
Tell you what. Suppose I go and bring a tin of biscuits.
Good idea. Oh, Lord.
Yes?
And an open tin. Oh, it's only the wind making the curtains rattle.
I wonder what happened to the top bathroom curtain.
By the wildest stretch of my imagination, I don't know what a murderer wants with a scarlet curtain.
What's next? 5 little soldier boys going in for law.
One got in chancery.
In chancery? But how could that apply? Unless, of course.
Precisely, my dear young lady. That is why I'm sitting right here.
It's awful dry. It's got to keep going round and round in my head till the day I die. Mr. Blow's been gone a long time.
Perhaps the big bad wolf has got him?
I advise you to restrain your peculiar sense of humor, Captain Lombard.
Sorry, sir. It must be a form of nervousness.
Put your hands up. Search him.
He's all right.
Would you like one?
No, I couldn't.
Oh, come now. You've had no dinner.
I couldn't eat anything. I warn you, Mr. Blow will guzzle his lot if anyone wants it.
I don't see why you need to be so funny about it, Miss Clayton. How are you with cigarettes?
I've run out.
Haven't gotten any either.
Fortunately, I'm a pipe smoker.
I've got a whole pack upstairs in my suitcase. I'll go get it. But you four, stay here.
Not bad, these biscuits. Cheese and celery.
The girl ought to have had some.
Her nerves are in a bad state.
I don't know I'd agree with you there, Doctor. Miss Clayton strikes me as a very cool and young, resourceful lady.
Hardly likely, a woman.
You and I, Doctor, see women from a slightly different angle.
What's that?
What was that?
What's that?
Who's there? Who's there? Who's there? Who's there?
Philip? Oh, God. I can't see anything.
Here I am.
Philip! Oh, God. There you are. Can't you have some light? It's awful in the dark.
Oh, it's that damn torch on the stairs. Pulling all the candles out.
Where's Dr. Armstrong?
I'm hunting for the matches. Never mind matches. Get some more candles.
It was horrible. It was right down my throat.
What did?
I opened the door to my room and the wind blew out the candle and then a long strand of seaweed touched my throat. I thought in the dark it was a wet hand strangling me.
I don't wonder you screamed. Who's that?
Oh, it's only me, Miss Clayton.
Who fired that shot?
Oh my God! Is that... Oh, doctor! Is he... He's dead. Shot through the head. One got a chance, and then there were four. Miss Clayton, Vera, you did it. You did it all so you could get me upstairs for cigarettes. You staged all of this. You're mad, all of you. Just crazy. That's why you needed the curtain and the wool? For that? Oh my God, let me out here.
Vera, wait.
Miss Clayton. Well, Armstrong, I guess it's time for bed.
I'll take care of his body.
Mr. Lombard?
Yes, it's me. Did you hear that too?
Yes. Who was that?
Is everything all right? I heard a sound.
I think Armstrong's making a run for it.
You think so? Vera, wait here and don't come until Blow and I call you.
There, I see him on the cliff.
You do? Armstrong! Armstrong! Armstrong!
Armstrong!
No good.
No good, Vera. No good. We can't find him.
The Jud's dead, shot through the head. Armstrong's missing. Probably made a run for it. Presumably the man behind all the killings. Was he really though? Bloor, Lombard, Vera certainly thought so, as though a weight was lifted off them. They smile as they eat, exchanged pleasantries, made small talk. They seem so normal.
And that leaves the cop, the adventurer, and the governess. Has their plight come to an end? Will they go on to lead long, happy lives? Or will the killer be back to deliver justice? The real question is, will any of them ever leave this island?
Soldier boys sitting in a row, thinking as they guzzle, who's next to go?
Oh, Philip. That's all right, Miss Clayton. I don't mind joking on a full stomach.
It was the uncertainty before, looking at each other, wondering which.
I said all along it was Dr. Armstrong.
Suppose it is Armstrong. How do you think he got hold of your revolver?
I have no idea. I found it lying by the window. It's right
Where do you think he is?
Probably lurking somewhere on this island, waiting to have maybe like a catch one of us.
Well, what's next in the rhyme?
Well, wait, come. Between you and me, Bloor, you did go in for that little spot of perjury, didn't you?
Well, I don't suppose it makes any difference right now. Landor was innocent, all right. I got cornered by the gang, and between us, we put him away for a stretch. Mind, I couldn't admit it in front of Sir Lawrence Wargrave, could I?
No, hardly.
Now then, Mr. Lombard, I see, if you're an honest man as you pretend...
Come now, Bloor. We're neither of us honest.
You ought to do the square thing and chuck that revolver down there.
What? Unlike you, I'm not foolish.
You two are fighting like a pair of children. We know it was Dr. Armstrong, and that is because of the rhyme. 4 little soldier boys going out to sea. A red herring swallowed one. You see, it's so subtle. That's Armstrong's pretend suicide. But it's only a red herring, so really, he isn't dead.
That's ingenious. Well, where do we go from here? 3 little soldier boys walking in the zoo. A big bear hugged one, and then there were 2. He'll have a good time with that. There's no zoo on the island. Was that? A boat? A boat! Yes! A boat! Ah!
Oh, God! My God! Laura's got his.
What? How?
A booby trap. Attached to something above.
So, there's no one on the island? No one except us?
No. We'll have to take care of ourselves, Vera.
We'll never make it out of here, Philip. He'll get us. I know he will.
Oh, he won't. I've never been beaten yet.
Let's get out of here. Anywhere but here.
Fine. We'll go to the cliff, maybe outside. We can see if anyone's going to come and rescue us from there.
Right.
Let's go. Wait.
Be careful, Philip, please.
Like Laura, I'm not foolish. There's something washed up there.
What?
Something on the rocks. It looks like a body.
Body? Armstrong. Armstrong's body.
It's Armstrong's body. What washed up at high water mark.
So, there's no one on the island except us.
Yes. Now we know where we are.
Now we know where we are.
Oh, Walgrave always knew you were dangerous. That little trick of yours.
You, the killer, the rhyme.
Oh, you're good pretending till the very end?
It's there in your face. Why didn't I see it before? The face of the killer.
What's wrong?
Step away from me.
You cunning little devil.
Take one step nearer and I'll shoot.
Young, lovely and quite mad. So you did kill that boy?
Yes. Yes, I did. But I did it for love. You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't either. He just left me.
I do understand, Vera. And now you have me. Oh, what a pair we'll make.
Alone. Alone at last. Peace. It's dead. Hugo is calling me. I must go to Hugo.
contradictions. I wanted to take life, but not the life of the innocent. I've always had an imaginative mind, but I chose the courtroom as my career. I've got what enjoyment I could, sentencing the guilty to death. Only the guilty. But I wanted more. I wanted to take life with my own hands, but my conscience stopped me. The innocent must not suffer. So, keeping in mind the nursery rhyme I loved as a child, I began to collect my victims. I collected 9, with myself being the 10th. It was easy enough, through friends, strangers, colleagues, and acquaintances. I found out how many people can take life without the law being able to touch them. And then, one by one, the China soldiers fell. Anthony Marston first. Then, Mrs. Rogers, Barbertone in the brandy. Got MacArthur with a knife. Got Rogers with an axe while he was chopping up sticks. Yes, I remembered to stick to the poem. Doped Emily Brent's coffee so she couldn't feel the hypodermic syringe. The next 4 was a scheme, all right. I knew Armstrong was easily swayed. We'd fixed up my supposed death so I could spy on the guilty one. He thought it an excellent plan. Came out to meet me by the cliff with no suspicion. I sent him over with a push. Booby trap for Blore. Blore was always a fool. I knew it would be easy to get him. Turning that revolver was a clever touch. The order of the murders were based off of how guilty the victims were. Philip Lombard was certainly guilty, but I knew she'd kill him. Intriguing, this girl. Resourceful young lady she was. The most intriguing of the lot. When her lover Hugo told me about the crime she'd committed, I was amazed. She'd sent that boy, let him drown, and then went on with her life as if it were normal. Or so she thought. You see, she always wondered if someone would see her for her true self, what she really was inside. Fortunately for her, I did. You see, I didn't need to kill her. She was already dead inside. Whether or not they solve this mystery, I shall never know. For even though I hope they do, I shan't be around to find out. I shall be found laid neatly on my bed, shot through the forehead in accordance kept by my fellow victims. I've thought about it through the last detail, using that revolver and taking great care to preserve Vera's fingerprints. I shall loosely attach the cord from my glasses to the revolver. Then, with the weight of my body, the revolver will recoil and jar the door, killing me. In the morning, when the weather clears, there will arrive boats and men, and they will find 10 dead bodies and an unsolved problem on Soldier Island. I wish them good luck figuring it out. Just in case they can't, I'm leaving this message in a bottle and throwing it out to sea. In the meantime, I bid you adieu.
And then there were none.
Was a show. I think these actors deserve a standing ovation as I call out their names. Our narrators, Ria and Kabir. Mr. and Mrs. Rogers, played by Agna and Manini. General MacArthur and Anthony Marston, played by Arush and Tanay. Bloor and Dr. Armstrong, played by Adrit and Ahana. Mrs. Brent and Justice Wargrave, played by Naya and Nora. Lombard and Vera, played by Jada and Shari. Playing the roles of Fred Narcott, the detective, and the disembodied voice is Pamya. Let us now acknowledge the teams who have helped bring this play to you. Script Department, Naya, Jada, and Shari. Set Design and Props, Agna, Ahana, and Ria and Tanay. Costume, Hair and Makeup, Manini and Nora. Sound and Light, Kabir, Adrit, and Arush. Last but not the least, Assistant Director, Pamya. I'll now give the mic to Pamya to say a few words.
We would like to thank Upasana teacher and Vaibhav sir for helping us through this entire play. And even bigger thanks to our teacher, Masumi teacher. This entire play is all thanks to her. And we love you.
All the performances that we saw today, that we witnessed today, were equally wonderful. Can we hear a round of applause for all the performances that happened today?
We would like to thank all the students, teachers, non-teaching facilities, and the St. Andrew staff. So, thank you for coming.
Thank you.